Punch Man, Season 2, Episode 7, S-Class Heroes. I think... That's how to start this. This episode means a bit to me. Because I went in with high expectations, and they weren't met. And it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't met. Because, mostly, I went in with high expectations because of the Saitama Suiryu fight. That fight means a lot to me personally because that's the reason I started reviewing One Punch Man in the first place. Like, I love that fight originally so much, I had to talk about it, and then that's how I started reviewing stuff. This episode tries to do a lot, and I think it kind of has, like, settled my opinion on Season 2 in total, where, like, it's fine, it just doesn't match up to the manga. And, like, I suppose maybe that's why I've been kind of, like, disappointed a bit with, like, past episodes. It's like, oh, here we go. And I feel like, at this point, it's quite sad to say it, but I feel like I've accepted it. I'm enjoying it still. Don't get me wrong, but then I'm like, I just feel like otherwise I'm just going to keep going, like, it's better in the manga, and, like, it is. And I don't want to keep doing that because I did check out, like, one thing I've done before I did this review was like, I like to check out reactions at this point for One Punch Man to see what people think of it, and people were really enjoying it. So as long as people are enjoying it, I can't really complain. I can have my preferences, but I think overall I'm happy that people are enjoying One Punch Man. But let's just start with the episode. As the episode carries on, a majority of this is to show off what the S-Class heroes can do, because most of them was, like, we haven't really seen, and they've been these hyped up characters, so we finally get to see what they can do. And most of all, like, it was okay for most of it. Like, it's, like you said, it's weird going from the manga kind of stuff. By the way, I won't spoil anything from the manga, unless it's already happened and it's not going to get shown. So for example, like, a lot of stuff was like, obviously the S-Class heroes kind of showing up and starting to defeat these monsters, really. Like, now that they're here, the tides are starting to really turn in the battle. It was just a taste of what all these different heroes can do. So, for example, Drive Knight. Drive Knight's one that we see, and we only see a glimpse of him, but, like, we see he can transform. Flashy Flash, we see he can, like, he had a great intro, by the way. Like, one thing that makes me sad, and I'll try not to do this too much this episode, is, this review even, is he had this, like his little introduction. Basically, the monster they're fighting is called 100-Eyed Octopus, and they had these, like, all these other characters had their little introductions and build-up. So there was this other character called Bones, who was just a throwaway character, but I really liked him because, you know, very similar to One Punch Man humour. It's these characters are built up, just be taken down very quickly, and Bones was one of these characters. And then obviously all these other boys. We saw a character called Narcisstoic. He is the character with the giant chin. I did not think we'd actually see him with everyone else, so I was very pleased to see him. And we just got onto, you know, and, like, it was a show of Flash's speed, and like with most of this, and this is going to be, honestly, this is my answer for all of this, really. I'll only talk about one other fight in particular. You know, it was fine. It was, like, a good show of speed, but at the same time I was still like, manga did it better. But, like, you know what, I still, like, I enjoyed it. I was like, okay, that's fair enough. You know, and even, like, Drive Knight's transformations, Amai Mask's kind of, like, his beat down on the monsters, everything like that. Like, when I say this, it's because it's fine, but what I think makes the manga better for this is because there's all those extra little details, so, like, you really get a sense of Flash's speed. Amai Mask, when he fights against the monsters at his concert, he toys around with them at first. He makes them part of his performance. Like, he still is singing and dancing, and, like, he really is straight until at the very end he shows his brutality once again, and he's just like, bam, 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 and slices them all up, no issue with his hands. Then we get to, obviously, one thing I say is music as well. Music was started to be reused from the first season, which is fine, because I don't really mind, like, because they basically used Boros' theme song from last season a couple times in this episode. Once when Flash is fighting, and the other time when Suiryu is fighting. Then, just to kind of, like, build these, just to, I suppose, like, you could say in a sense of scale, like, you know, that was a big moment, and maybe your brain will relate it back to, like, oh, these are big moments too. But yes, obviously you got characters like Child Emperor and Pig Guard, and then it's teased that, like, Child Emperor's got more potential because he's like, if I've got my backpack on, I could beat this monster no problem. And then obviously Pig Guard comes in and saves the day, and we get to see a bit of what Pig Guard could do, and he just eats people. And obviously Tatsumaki ends up beating up 100-Eyed Octopus, and she has her own little theme song, is what I noticed too. And I liked that. It was good, but it was only a little glimpse. And the S-Class heroes, their whole point was just to kind of show, I suppose it's like a tease of what they can do and how they fight and everything like that. Even Watchdog Man, like, you know, well, not Watchdog Man, but, like, it's at that point when Garo goes to fight the S-Class heroes. It really kind of shows, like, the scale of an S-Class level opponent. Like, you know, they are easily decimating these demon level monsters. Nothing that here is a threat to them. Something that's quite evident with the S-Class heroes from this as well is just like we can all see that they're powerhouses. They're easily wrecking these monsters that have been causing trouble for every other kind of hero, right? But something else that we can see is like they are, whilst they're all individually strong, together they aren't too great. So I suppose you could take it from two kind of scenarios. The first being Child Emperor and Pig God. Like Pig God obviously got attacked by the poison, and immediately Child Emperor, maybe it was like obviously concerned because he's a hero, but he's like, oh no, Pig God's in trouble. He had no kind of faith in him. And then the same, but obviously Pig God was fine, as we saw. And then the same with Tatsumaki and Flashy Flash, which is more for comedy, because Tatsumaki has really been kind of this force of like, of a person that you don't mess with. Like that scene, like time and time again, like no one really challenges her apart from Saitama, really. So when so even the other heroes aren't there, and she's like, I've got to do all your work, and then Flashy Flash's like, you trying to take my kill? And then obviously he starts fighting back to her. I thought that was quite, like, you know, it shows that they're each individual powerhouses, but there isn't a lot of cooperation between these guys, and they're not like, you know, they're not afraid to like kind of step over each other to make themselves look better, kind of thing too. Yeah. Super fight, Saitama and Chose, love that. Like, it's just the same reason like Bakuzan, like, it's all the build up to the payoff of just like a bam. I forgot how good Saitama's lines were though. He's so dramatic. You're basically like a new type of corn, and it's like, I'll kill you. Bam! Done! That's all we need to see. And like, we don't even see his fight actually against, Sourface, because like, Chiranko, I guess this is it. I won't hold back against you. Instant KO. And what I love is, like, it does go to that stereotype in tournament arcs where like the old rival becomes like the ally to them, and then, because literally after he beats him, he starts treating him with more respect, and then he's like, oh, well, you gotta watch out for this guy because of this, 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 and this, and then, you know, it is just like that in tournament arcs as well, so I did like that little touch. And then I'm thinking we got the Atomic Samurai stuff, and honestly, I quite enjoyed this stuff, really. Atomic Samurai was really good in this. Obviously, like, it's also this obvious example, like, we've seen this with the martial artists, but it makes sense with, obviously, like, ninja, and now we get to see swordsmen, too. People who aren't heroes, but are still incredibly powerful, as Atomic Samurai has gone to fellow masters, a group of swordsmen he is part of, called the Council of Swordsmen, and he's gone to ask for their help in dispatching Garo, because, you know, he trusts Bang, and he recognises his skill, but he's worried that his friend won't be able to do the job because of his past connection with Garo. So, obviously, he's like, listen, we've got to find him, take care of him first, and like, you know, it's like a real kind of show of like, you know, there are powerhouses, like people who Atomic Samurai could come to and ask for help, and Atomic Samurai is S-Class rank 4, as from the feat we see in this chapter, in this episode as well, when obviously Harugiri goes to challenge them. We also, obviously, at this point, we get introduced to the idea of monster cells, an idea of, you know, a quick way for humans to become monsters, and it does feed into more of like, you know, like how do humans turn into monsters, because we know there are natural monsters out there, but there are definitely humans. Well, I don't know if it's kind of explored in the anime too, like obviously like Crabblante from the first episode was like, I had so much crab I turned into a crab, like it's that kind of stuff as well, but there are ways to like, there are ways that people can naturally turn into monsters, but there's also ways you can force the transformation as well, as we see from this. And Harugiri explains, you know, monster cells are around, and they are doing, like, they're the way to quickly kind of, like, you know, adjust to a monster level. And obviously, I liked it when he's obviously, when he threatens them all. And Atomic Samurai stills looked really good in this, same with Flashy Flash as well, where he's like, we're not weaklings like you. And then obviously at the end where he's like, you know, we're going to hunt the Monster Association first. Those stills of Atomic Samurai looked really good. And then of course, you get that moment where Harugiri swipes at him, and then Atomic just dices him up in an instant. And I thought this was actually, like, I can justify why this was done like this, because this is supposed to be a super fast interaction, because Harugiri is a character, I don't remember if they say it in the episode, but in any case, he is his sword skills, right, just to really build up Atomic Samurai, before he even transforms into a monster, he can already slice faster than sound, and his skills are all just amplified from that, from the monster transformation. So obviously when Atomic Samurai dishes him out, no trouble at all. It really does hone in the strength of what an S-Class level opponent is, like an S-Class level hero is, especially a top tier one, because Harugiri was a demon level threat, Atomic Samurai no issue, diced him up. And like, I thought I got it was fine, but I still preferred what they did in the manga, because in the manga it's literally page by page, so it's literally like, there's a page where the sword is right by Atomic Samurai's neck, right? Next page he's instantly diced up Harugiri. So, whilst I don't hate this because it's supposed to be a quick interaction, I think just that is a better show of Atomic Samurai speed, but that's more of a personal thing for me. Like I said, I've seen what people think of it, and they are happy with this, so I'm not gonna be like, this is trash, because it's not trash, it's fine. Like, this is how I feel about this. Meanwhile, I guess we're now onto the fight. This was what really meant the most to me. As I said at the beginning, like this was the fight that got me reviewing, and it's weird to say, like, kind of to look at it, but now especially like. Right, it's weird to analyse this stuff because this is when I started talking about One Punch Man, and this is when I was really like, okay, this is what I like, you know. And you go back and watch those first, I might link them down below, to be honest, because if you really want to see what I thought of this fight initially, that's where you can look at it. And like I said, because this is the reason I started it, I can spoil it a little and say I really enjoyed this fight originally. This rendition of the fight was fine. Just bits I was like, that was really fast, and like it's like this is what I mean about detail, because they gloss over some bits that I feel like really like hone in the points, like the counter argument to Suryu's arguments, and yeah, so let's talk about it. So, fight obviously starts very quickly, and it is very funny at the beginning, of course, because it's all about, like, you know, Suryu's, like, trying to test him, and everyone's like, oh my god, he's too much for Chiranko, but obviously Saitama's just, like, trying to keep the wig on at all times, he's like, and it is good until they have that little conversation where, first of all, Suryu's, like, obviously, you know, where he recognises Saitama's strength. He's like, you're strong and I can tell this, you know, what did you enter this tournament for? I entered it for money and I wanted just to enjoy myself, and basically very similar to what Saitama wants as well. Like, Saitama wants the money and he also wants to enjoy himself. He wants to learn about martial arts, see if he can find his challenge there, and obviously he goes on to talk about, like, you know, his, like, what it's been like for him, and then I love how, like, the martial arts, like, oh, they're talking about their struggles towards the finals where neither of them have struggled at all, and obviously, like, Suryu is like, alright, I'll help you out. If you give me an entertaining fight, which, let's face it, I'm going to be the one to win, I will show you some exciting martial arts. And then obviously, just like the little build-up as well of Saitama going, you're a bit different though, and he's a bit excited too. So whenever Saitama's a bit excited, it's always a great way to build it up, and like, I think he did a good job of not letting it go on for too long, I guess, in that sense, because it was immediately kind of, it was an immediate kind of letdown for Suryu as well. Suryu's not weak at all, but you know, when Saitama try it, it's Saitama, let's face it. And I think what I really like about this fight more, obviously, like, I think some of the details were really good. I loved the animation, to be honest, in this fight. I feel like this was probably my favourite fight of Season 2 still. Like, I still really enjoyed it, but, like, it's obviously just, like, I thought the animation was really good, so when Suryu, like, kicks him up into the air, I just feel like, you know, they kind of did, like, a curve on Saitama's, like, there's perspective on him, and I really liked that, and obviously as Suryu boots him down, that kick's still brutal, so obviously when Saitama, like, gets planted into the ground, Suryu grabs his arms and just knees him straight in the face. That's a brutal kick still, and I felt that still real. I was like, okay, this isn't too bad. And then it obviously does break into this point where, like, you know, they start talking about heroes, and this is where the fight changes, and this is what I love about this fight too, is because Suryu is a person who looks down on heroes because of his strength, like, and from his previous interactions with heroes, which have been Snek and Max, they haven't been able to meet up to, and he doesn't really get why they are, why heroes are doing this, there's no need for heroes, he basically is really looking down on heroes, calling them trash kind of thing. And, you know, this is kind of what I say about, like, the manga being better, because, like, at this point, like, you get glimpses of heroes, and you see, like, the flash of Moomin Rider and Tank Top Master, and as he's giving this speech in the manga, we see them, like, risking their all to protect the innocents in the hospital, the people who can't protect themselves, really emphasising what it is to be a hero, and I'm sad that got cut out, because it is a great counter-argument without even, like, Saitama having to say anything to Suryu's points. And then, of course, well, like, the biggest, like, argument against it, like, the fight is different, because Saitama, this whole time, I think even throughout the whole season, hasn't been serious. Like, he hasn't shown a face like that throughout the whole thing. I'm trying to remember if he has. Well, like, actually, no, the last time he did, which shows how it relates to it, was when Fubuki challenged Saitama, and Saitama, like, called her out on her ideals of heroism, and, like, you know, don't look down on heroes. So it makes sense, obviously, next time someone calls out heroes, Saitama does it. This has been his passion. Like, he said, ever since he was a kid, all he's wanted to was to be a hero. A hero so strong he'd beat anyone one punch. So the fact that Suryu has challenged this ideal of his, like his whole, like, you know, something he adores being. He loves doing hero work. He loves fighting monsters, despite obviously being constantly let down. He wouldn't give it up. So when it's just a great way. Obviously, Suryu goes for the kick. Saitama doesn't even bother to protect the wig, because the money doesn't matter. The fight doesn't matter to him anymore. You've insulted something he deeply cares about, and he's not going to let you get away with it. And the animation on one of my favourite bits is great, because it's solid, and it's just the punch. I love the punch. Just he goes like it's just so brilliant, going like, what, you can't even get the words out. Suryu, was it? I'll give you some advice then, just from someone like me. If you want to enjoy fights, then don't get any stronger than you are now. Very, like, intimidating face while keeping the simplicity, which I think is pretty scary, especially coming from Saitama. Boom, the punch lands, and obviously it tears away everything. I felt like it didn't have the same kind of impact, like, basically, when that punch goes for Suiryu in the match, it's like a fist, like, very similar to, like, the death punch from Season 1 when Genos fights Saitama. It's like that. And just, you know, obviously the fight's done with, and it's just the example, obviously everyone, like, I feel like, especially in the manga too, like, Suiryu is super, like, built up by the audience and by the announcer, like, everything the fight's going on is either because Chironko's too scared, or he can't fight back, or Suiryu's just overpowering, so when that hits, they perceive that as Suiryu just flexing his muscles, and just, like, his clothes tear off. So obviously, you know, it's a bit different to that, and obviously the fight carries on, like, you know, they disqualify it despite seeing this amazing feat of power, like, you know, they're like, no, this isn't Chironko, so he's disqualified after the incident from that Goro caused last year. And obviously Suiryu's like, no, the fight's carrying on. And this was entertaining still, I just thought this went really fast. And, like, maybe because I don't think it went this fast when it actually happened, but at the same time it is a fight scene, and fight scenes aren't exactly going to last, like, a fight scene, like, fast-paced like this should last 2 episodes, but once again, it's like, things I loved about this fight were the details in it, and to its credit, the anime did give me some details which I did really enjoy. So the ones I personally really enjoyed were, obviously, I think just the look of Saitama's face, where Saitama isn't messing around anymore. It's very queer, it's very, it's not at all queer. It's very clear that Suiryu is no match for Saitama. And we see this just throughout the fight, like, the amount of time Suiryu, like, and Suiryu's feats are impressive, you know, splitting the arena in half, kicking half of it up, but landing those punches on Saitama, he's not even trying to block, he's just there taking it. And it's just, it's insane. I love that kind of, I love these little touches. Even his strongest punch, a punch so powerful with his muscles, like, going all out, it snaps the band around him, and I feel like that fight was lost a little in the anime too. But obviously Saitama just gets blasted back a tiny bit, and then he comes to his conclusion, a very Saitama conclusion. So this is what martial arts is. It's basically beating your monsters in a cool way. And then he goes on to talk about the spinny move, and you know, and like, obviously, that hasn't happened yet. I would love that to happen at some point, where Saitama would really just try beating a monster in a cool way, and it's not cool at all, but obviously, because of his overwhelming strength, it doesn't happen. So he runs into him and just goes bam, goes flying, end of the fight. But when I say the next thing I like about this, it's the ending, because we don't really see it, because we focus on Suiryu as Saitama runs away, but obviously, you know, the pants come down, we see that, but I just love Saitama's little, like, waddle away, like, trying to keep his trousers up, just, like, scurrying out there as people chase after him. It's just such a, it's just such a Saitama thing to happen, and, you know, instead of this amazing feat of power, everyone's focusing on, you know, like, everyone feels like, you know, Suiryu's the champion because, you know, Chironko got disqualified, and then, of course, you know, everyone just laughs instead of being like, who is this guy? It's a very One Punch Man thing to do, like, trying to keep the feats of strength away from Saitama, people recognizing him, but still. But one of my favorite details that got missed out is, like, it's a perfect example of the power difference between Saitama and Suiryu. Sorry about that, you know me, I just go on for ages about One Punch Man. Sometimes I just lose track and it's days, and apparently I change clothes in the middle of rambling about it. But yeah, like, you saw all of the force Suiryu put in the stadium, right? It had been split in half of it to show Suiryu's power, the other half to show Saitama's power. Saitama did anything to it. Saitama just accidentally hitting him while spinning around shatters the stadium. Like, shatters, like, the whole, not say, the arena, the whole arena that he was in charge of, like, easily like demolishing it, you know, everything that Suiryu had done before made nothing to Saitama not intentionally trying to hurt someone. That's the power scale between them. He goes flying, and obviously Suiryu looks like a fool. And I will say though, I do love, like, because like in the manga when it happens, it's like, you know, it focuses on Suiryu. I love Saitama's waddle away, and obviously, you know, everyone's got to look for an excuse not to focus on it. So like, look, his trousers are down, everyone laugh at him, but I love his, like, holding up his trousers, like, running out the arena. Just, I love that. Like, it's so good. But I guess I'm trying to remember what else there is to talk about, because, you know, I've been rambling about this for days, so I'm trying to remember what I've covered and I have to cut out. Yeah, I think what was good was the ending as well, like, because Goketsu's entrance, he looked terrifying, it demonstrated him as a dragon, and they also did the generous bit really well, which is of course to go, like, you know, show how powerful he is, like, you know, this guy is unlike any other monster I've seen before. And they didn't do it to the same extent, but there's still time for this kind of thing too. But we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, and that's all I got to say apparently. Cool, thanks, goodbye, sorry for rambling for days.